If you find yourself pacing around your kitchen at 3 a.m., having full-blown arguments with people who aren't there, if your living space looks like a crime scene, yet you know exactly where that one specific receipt from 4 years ago is buried, if you feel a physical wave of exhaustion the second someone tries to make small talk about the weather, stop apologizing. For your entire life you have been gaslit. Parents, teachers, bosses, they've all handed you the same diagnostic manual for being a functional human. And when you couldn't stick to their rigid schedule, keep a perfectly tidy desk, or tolerate their mindless chatter, they slapped a label on you: lazy, disorganized, weird, antisocial, too much. They convinced you that these habits were defects in your character, evidence that you were somehow glitching. They were lying to you. What mainstream psychology calls a bad habit, dark psychology recognizes as an optimization protocol. You don't have these habits because you are defective. You have these habits because your hardware is running different software than the masses. Society is designed for the average. It is engineered for mid-wit compliance. The school system, the 9-to-5 grind, the social expectations. They are built to produce obedient workers who color inside the lines and sleep 8 hours a night. They want predictable robots. But you are a hunter operating in a farmer's world. They fear what they cannot categorize. A mind that operates on hyperspeed looks chaotic to a mind that only operates in first gear. They look at your messy desk and see laziness. We look at it and see an externalized search engine. They see you talking to yourself and see instability. Dad, we see a rapid prototyping simulation running in real time. Here is the raw truth they didn't teach you in school. High intelligence is expensive. The human brain is only about 2% of your body weight, but it devours 20% of your body's total energy supply. And for you, that number is higher. A high IQ brain is a high-performance engine running hot. It is constantly scanning, predicting, connecting abstract concepts, and running background simulations. When your brain is lighting up that much neural circuitry just to exist, it has to cut corners somewhere else. It must ruthlessly automate or ignore the trivial parts of physical reality to preserve energy for cognitive processing. The weird habits you are ashamed of are not failures. They are energy conservation strategies. Your brain is choosing not to waste horsepower on organizing socks because it's busy calculating variables that other people aren't even aware exist. You have spent decades trying to suppress these behaviors to fit in. Today, that ends. We are going to peel back the layers of social conditioning and validate the way your mind actually works. If you recognize yourself in the next few minutes, it's time to stop fighting your own nature and start weaponizing it. Here are the signs that your weirdness is actually horsepower. Before we get to the specific habits, we need to isolate the biological engine driving them. If you have ever felt like the world is simply too loud, if you notice the humming of the refrigerator while trying to read, or you can't focus on a conversation because you're analyzing the micro-expressions on someone's face, there is a biological reason for that. It is not ADD, it is not lack of focus. It is a mechanism called low-latent inhibition. Let me explain how the average brain works. For most people, the brain is an aggressive sensor. It is a strict bouncer standing at the door of consciousness. When a normal person walks down the street, their brain deletes 90% of the data before it even reaches their conscious mind. They see car, they see building, they see tree. Their brain says, these objects are irrelevant to survival. Ignore them. This is high latent inhibition. It is a survival mechanism designed to keep the average person sane. It simplifies the world so they can function without getting overwhelmed. It keeps them comfortable, but you don't have that luxury. Your bouncer is asleep at the wheel. With low latent inhibition, your brain does not filter out the background noise. It lets everything in. When you walk down that same street, you don't just see car. You see the rust pattern on the wheel well. You notice the specific shade of industrial gray on the building. You hear the rhythmic tapping of a stranger's shoe. 3 distinct beats away, you are flooded with raw, unfiltered data from your environment, every second of every day. To the outside world, this looks like a defect. If you are constantly distracted by small details, people call you scatterbrained. If you can't sit still because your mind is processing the texture of your shirt and the flickering light bulb simultaneously, they call you anxious. If you make weird connections between two things that seem completely unrelated, they call you eccentric. But here is the catch, and this is backed by research from the University of Toronto and Harvard. Low latent inhibition is only a disorder if you have a low IQ. If your brain is flooded with all that extra information, and you lack the processing power to handle it, you end up confused, overwhelmed, even psychotic. However, if you have high intelligence, if you have the raw horsepower to take that flood of information and organize it, that is the formula for genius. That is the definition of creativity. The average person can't think outside the box because their brain won't even let them see the box. They can only see what they have been told to see. You see everything. You treat familiar things as if they are new. You see the variables that everyone else's brain automatically deletes. This is why you have these weird habits. You aren't doing them to be difficult. You are doing them because you are managing a massive intake of data that would crush a normal person. Your eccentricity is not a bug. It is the exhaust fume of a supercomputer analyzing a complex reality. So let's look at the specific habits that this mechanism creates. Let's see if you are just weird or if you are running this specific operating system. Let's begin with sign number 1. You might think you are alone in this. You might look at your own life, the clutter, the odd sleeping hours, the inability to tolerate certain textures or sounds, and think you are failing at being an adult. But if we look back at the people who actually built the modern world, we don't see well-adjusted, normal people. We see outcasts. We see glitches. Let's look at the man who literally invented the 20th century, Nikola Tesla. By today's standards, Tesla would have been medicated. He would have been dragged into HR for being difficult. He was obsessed with the number 3. He couldn't touch hair. He despised pearls so much he couldn't speak to women wearing them. He insisted on 18 napkins at every meal to polish his silverware until it sparkled. Society called him neurotic. They whispered that he was losing his mind. He spent his final years talking to pigeons, caring for them as if they were his children. But look closer. Tesla's brain was a simulation engine so powerful he didn't need blueprints. He could build a machine entirely in his mind, run it for weeks, check for wear and tear on the components, and then build it in reality, perfectly, on the first try. His weird habits, the obsessive cleanliness, the rigid routines were not madness. They were control. When your internal world is that loud, that vivid, and that chaotic, you must control your external environment. You create rituals to stabilize the chaos. If you find yourself needing things to be just right before you can work, or if you have specific rituals that seem pointless to others, you are doing exactly what Tesla did. You are clearing the noise so the signal can come through. Now, let's look at the other side of the spectrum, Albert Einstein. If Tesla was obsessive order, Einstein was aggressive chaos. He didn't wear socks. He famously said, "Why should I wear socks? They only produce holes." He let his hair grow wild because he didn't want to waste time at the barber. His desk at Princeton looked like a bomb had gone off. Stacks of paper, unwashed cups, total anarchy. People called him absent-minded. They called him a slob. But Einstein wasn't messy. He was efficient. He understood the concept of decision fatigue before psychology even had a name for it. Every decision you make, what to wear, where to file a paper, when to get a haircut, burns glucose. It burns neural energy. Einstein refused to spend his limited energy on trivialities. He didn't care about socks because he was busy rewriting the laws of physics. He didn't organize his desk because the chaos allowed him to make non-linear connections that a filing cabinet would have destroyed. Do you see the pattern? These men were not geniuses despite their weird habits. They were geniuses because they refused to compromise their energy for social norms. Tesla needed rigid order to manage his hallucinations. Einstein needed total freedom to manage his abstractions. Both of them were rejected by the normal world for being different. Both of them were mocked. And both of them left a legacy that the people mocking them could only dream of. If you have been beating yourself up because you can't keep your room clean, or because you have to tap your foot 3 times before you sit down, stop it. You are not failing to be normal. You are succeeding at being distinct. You are in good company. Now let's get into the specific behaviors. Let's see which archetype you fit into. Here are the 10 weird habits that signal you are operating on a higher frequency. Sign number 1, the self-conversation loop. Do you talk to yourself? I don't mean just muttering a curse word when you stub your toe. I mean full, structured conversations. Do you pace around your room, explaining complex concepts to an invisible audience? Do you act out both sides of an argument in the shower? Do you whisper instructions to yourself while you're working? If someone walked in on you, you'd die of embarrassment. They would call it instability. They'd look at you like you're losing your grip on reality. They are wrong. In psychology, this is not madness. It is a sign of high cognitive functioning. It's called self-directed speech. Here is what is actually happening. Your brain is generating thoughts faster than your linear conscious mind can process them. You are flooding the engine by vocalizing your thoughts, by speaking them out loud. You are forcing your brain to slow down, organize the data, and give it physical form. A study published in the Quarterly Journal of Experimental Psychology found that people who talk to themselves while searching for objects find them significantly faster. Why? Because saying the word activates the visual properties of the object in your brain. You are literally boosting your processing speed. You aren't crazy. You are using your voice as an external hard drive. You are offloading working memory into the air so you can use that mental energy for deeper analysis. If you talk to yourself, you aren't hearing voices. You are just the only person in the room smart enough to hold a conversation with. Sign number 2, the nocturnal chronotype. Let's talk about your sleep schedule. Are you the person who is physically painful to be around at 8 a.m.? Do you feel groggy, slow, and stupid until the sun goes down? But then, around 10 p.m., while everyone else is winding down, do you suddenly wake up? Do you get your best ideas at midnight? Do you feel a surge of creative energy at 2 a.m.? Society calls this laziness. They call it poor discipline. They tell you to fix your sleep hygiene. Ignore them. This isn't a bad habit. This is evolutionary biology. It is known as evolutionary novelty. Research from the London School of Economics has shown a direct correlation between high IQ and nocturnal behavior. The theory is simple. Our ancestors were diurnal. They operated by day. The night was dangerous. To stay awake at night required a brain that was willing to defy biological norms and explore the unknown. It is the sentinel intelligence. While the tribe slept, the smartest members had to stay awake to guard against predators. Your inability to sleep early is a remnant of that genetic code. You crave the night because the night is quiet. The sensory distractions of the day, the noise, the demands, the bright lights, are gone. At 2 a.m., your brain finally has the bandwidth to run at full capacity. You aren't lazy. You are just operating in your natural time zone. Sign number 3, the clutter algorithm. Look at your desk. Look at your bedroom. Is it a mess? Be honest. Are there stacks of books you're currently reading? Tangled wires? Notes scribbled on random pieces of paper? Do you clean it up, only for it to devolve back into chaos within 48 hours? Your parents probably screamed at you about this. They told you that a messy room equals a messy mind. That is a lie. A messy room often equals a nonlinear mind. This is the disorganized environment effect. A study from the University of Minnesota showed that while a clean desk promotes good behavior and rule following, a messy desk promotes creative thinking and new ideas. Here is the logic. A high IQ mind relies on making connections between seemingly unrelated things. When you organize everything into neat, labeled drawers, you are hiding those things from your sight. You are killing the potential for random connection. But in a messy environment, your eyes are constantly scanning. You see the book next to the wire next to the note. Your brain subconsciously links them. That visual chaos acts as a randomizer for your thoughts, forcing you to break out of rigid patterns. You don't have a mess, you have a collage of ideas. You know exactly where everything is because you have created a spatial map of the chaos. Don't clean up if it kills your flow. Sign number 4, the social battery glitch. Do you hate small talk with a burning passion? Does the idea of standing around a party talking about the weather or sports make you physically nauseous? Do you often zone out in conversations because the person is talking too slowly and you've already predicted the end of their sentence 3 minutes ago? And afterwards, do you need to go into a dark room and not speak to anyone for hours to recharge? People call this antisocial. They call you introverted or awkward. Let's relabel that. It is high-resolution social processing. For an average person, a conversation is just words. For you, a conversation is a data stream. You are analyzing their tone, their word choice, their body language, and the subtext of what they aren't saying. You are running a psychological profile in real time. That takes energy, massive amounts of energy. Small talk feels painful because it is low-value data. Your brain craves high-density information, philosophy, the future, the universe. When you are forced to process low-density data, like how about this weather, your brain gets bored and fatigued. It's like trying to run a supercomputer on a dial-up connection. You aren't antisocial. You are just selective about where you spend your bandwidths. Sign number 5, the curse of rumination. Do you replay conversations from 5 years ago in your head? Do you lay in bed at night and worry about scenarios that haven't happened yet? Do you overthink everything? Society tells you to chill out. They tell you that you worry too much. This is the price of a predictive engine. Anxiety, in many cases, is a misfired form of high intelligence. It is imaginative capacity. Your brain is designed to solve problems. When there are no problems to solve, it invents them. It runs simulations. What if I lose my job? What if that car swerves? What if I said the wrong thing? Called. A study from SUNY Downstate Medical Center found that high levels of worry are co-evolved with high intelligence. It is a survival trait. The worrier in the tribe was the one who anticipated the famine, the flood, or the invasion before it happened. You are constantly visualizing future timelines to prepare for them. It feels like anxiety, but it is actually a safety mechanism. Your brain is trying to protect you by pre-solving every possible disaster. It is exhausting. It is heavy. But it is also why you are the person everyone turns to when things actually do go wrong. Because you've already lived through it in your head 1,000 times. So, how many of these do you have? If you have more than 3, we need to talk about what comes next, because having the hardware is one thing. Knowing how to drive it is another. I want you to listen to me very closely. For years, you have looked at these habits as cracks in your foundation. You have treated them as things to be fixed, hidden, or medicated away. You have looked at the normal people around you, the ones who sleep easily, who love small talk, who keep their desks perfectly clean, and you have envied them. You have wished you could just be like them. Simple, happy, uniform. But I want you to consider something. Do you know how a jeweler tells the difference between a natural diamond and a synthetic one? A synthetic diamond, one created in a lab, is perfect. It has 0 defects. It is chemically pure. It is flawless. And it is cheap. But a real diamond? A diamond forged in the crushing pressure of the earth? It has inclusions. It has tiny internal fractures. It has birthmarks. To the untrained eye, those inclusions look like mistakes. But to the master jeweler, those flaws are the proof of authenticity. They are the proof that the stone is real, that it has survived the pressure, and that it is one of a kind. These weird habits of yours, the anxiety, the messiness, the talking to yourself, the sleepless nights, they are your inclusions. They are the proof that you are a natural, high-functioning mind in a world full of synthetic, lab-grown conformists. The world is obsessed with normal. But normal is just another word for average. Normal is the middle of the bell curve, and nothing world-changing ever happens in the middle of the bell curve. History is not written by the well-behaved. It is written by the obsessive, the eccentrics, the night owls, the people who were too busy staring at the stars to match their socks. If you sand down your edges to fit into their box, you might feel safer, you might fit in better, but you will lose the very thing that makes you dangerous. You will trade your genius for comfort. Do not make that trade. Phase 7. The call to action. The world has enough accountants. The world has enough people who color inside the lines. The world is drowning in obedient, sleepy, organized robots. We don't need another one of them. We need you. We need your chaotic desk. We need your 3 a.m. theories. We need your overthinking and your sensitivity and your obsession. So here is my challenge to you. Stop apologizing for your hardware. Stop trying to run average person software on a high-performance machine. Embrace the glitch. Lean into the weirdness. If you recognized yourself in this video, if you are one of the few who understands that the noise in your head is actually a symphony, then I want you to make yourself known. The comment section is usually a place for noise. Today, we are going to make it a roll call for the outliers. If you are part of this 1%, I want you to drop your country name in the comments below. Let it signify that you see what others don't. Let it signify that you are awake while they are sleeping. Let the world see how many of us there actually are. Do not click away without leaving your mark. And remember this: the reasonable man adapts himself to the world. The unreasonable one persists in trying to adapt the world to himself. Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable man. Stay unreasonable. Fail.